Let me start off by saying hotep or peace to everyone out there listening. I guarantee you learned something. And so they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. This video ought to be worth an entire book. All you have to do is look. These are Saharan cave drawings from 10 to 15,000 BC. Drawn by African people. But in 15,000 BC, I want you to notice some things. You can tell their hair is done. It's like they're dancing. They appear very happy. Leisurely. Like they're lying on the sand on the beach. And they are dressed. They are not naked. You can't believe everything you heard about Africans. This is an ancient Egyptian painting called the Pure People. Because of their color, Africans were always proud of their darkness. The Venus of Willendorf, one of the oldest sculptures ever found in Europe. They're all of African women. Same with this sculpture. They all have a heavy shape and an African characteristic to them. This is Isis and her savior son Horus, born December 25th of Immaculate Conception. This statue is dated 4000 BC. This is the Cairo Museum. I saw a statue of Isis and Anubis, and I noticed Isis's nose was broken. Only her nose. A European painting of Jesus dated 300 AD, one of the earliest paintings of Jesus ever found. Notice anything? Egyptian geometry on papyrus in 1800 BC, showing geometry which was invented by Africans. So was algebra, trigonometry. This is Taharka. He's in the Bible, saving the Jews from their enemies. Notice his nose. This is Narmer, the first pharaoh and the first known king in history. Narmer, the first pharaoh and the first known king in history. I will test you during this video. This is one of the oldest European portraits of Jesus, 300 AD, 300 years after his death. This is how they drew him. This is Osiris, one of the first Egyptian gods, on his throne from which you can see all men of all colors appear to grow. In ancient Egypt, Lower Egypt was in the north and Upper Egypt was in the south. They would think the world was upside down today. You ever think, because you've been told that Africans didn't study or didn't go to school, take a look at this, it proves it. This is 2800 BC in the Cairo Museum, an exhibit of a young Egyptian student with his backpack going to school. They had already created the first educational system in history. The typical head of an Egyptian pharaoh, according to everyone except Hollywood. Who is this? I told you I'd test you. Remember the first pharaoh in history? Call his name. Too late. Who were they? The mother and the baby who's supposed to save the world, born December 25th. This is Judgment Day. It's where it came from. Africans invented it. Your heart would be weighed against the feather of my eye. This is where our idea of Judgment Day comes from. Egyptian, African people. See that face? The largest sculptured face of any man on earth. He's a black African called the Sphinx. The Ebers Papyrus, 1550 BC, dealt with gynecology and contraception, written in 1550. 500 years before Greece, the pyramids are built directly beneath the three stars in the belt of Orion constellation where they believe God in heaven was. This is an African stone head dated 550 BC, found in Mexico. Americans were here at least 1400 years before Columbus. The Temple of Isis, a magnificent example of African architectural superiority. There's Osiris on the left and on the right. And we have Isis. Check out the jumpsuits. Mental Hotep. Just in case you believe what Hollywood's trying to show you, that pharaohs weren't black, is the Egyptian army in the Cairo Museum. The Egyptian army. You see those afros? You see the skin? That's not by chance. Check out the African sailors. 2000 BC. We had boats that were sailing long before people were. Nobody else. Alright, who are they? Flyest god and goddess in history. Man in white. Don't cheat. Proof of the black pharaohs starts with MEN. Mentuhotep. Amenemhet. Pharaoh Amenemhet. Why so many broken noses? Think about it. Why just the nose? So you won't know that he's African. So you might just say, oh, that nose could be straight. You don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, but guess how we know this is a black woman? Just take a guess. Amenhotep III. Check out his nose. Just his nose. Must mean something. Pharaoh Taharka. Black enough way? It's the one who saved the Jews in the Bible. How could Hollywood do what they do? Take a look at what he's wearing. Right. He's also got this collar around his neck. You know Egyptian history was bad because even George Washington calculated that. But they won't tell you. But pictures worth 1,000 words, isn't it? Alright, who is he? The United Upper and Lower Egypt first king. Start to the end. Are you paying attention to what? Hebrews Papyrus. What did it deal with? 1550 BC, 500 years before Greece. Osiris. What does that picture mean? What's going on in the picture? Look. Mary and Jesus look different in Ethiopia. Isn't that something? No other people in history left behind pictures of themselves involved with creation so sophisticated that even today no one can explain this picture. No other civilization is so old that historians they aren't sure when it began. The list of estimates goes from 5,700 to about 2,300. This is the house of life. Medical procedures took place. Notice the birthing stool. It's the bent pyramid. Africans didn't build pyramids perfectly immediately. It took about 1,000 years. The bent pyramid shows us that. Bet you didn't know Buddha was a brother. Why just the nose, huh? That nose must have really bothered people, and it still does. Professor Ivan Van Sertima proved that without a doubt Africans were in America at least 1,400 to 2,000 years before Columbus. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, check out his videos, they're great. Look at this. How come no other people in history knew how to preserve a 4,000-year-old body and have it look this good? Not science. I should have blocked this out. If you don't know this man's name by now, get some help, really. Take a good look here. You're looking at the reason you and the rest of the world say Amen after prayer, one of the oldest Nile Valley gods, the god Amen. I didn't show before. That's Dr. Ben. That's Dr. Ben. Check out his video. Bad as it's done. This French explorer said that they owed Africans art, science, even their use of speech. To African. 300 BC, Europeans painted Jesus looking like this 300 years after he died. Wonder what happened. He sure looks different now, doesn't he? Different sculpture, the same man you've seen 4 times. Who is this man? Why is he famous? What did he do? What is his name? Huni Neferkara, another Egyptian pharaoh with a broken nose. 2592 BC. Tahaka, the black one. Look at the nose. This pharaoh's face was damaged, too damaged to identify. Those haters. We were too great. Next, you'll see a sculpture of an ancient Egyptian woman. And second, you'll see proof that Egyptians sailed ships in 2500 BC. I'm sorry. This is the sculpture of an ancient Egyptian woman. Does she look European to you? What's wrong with Hollywood? Ancient ship with Africans sailing on. You don't see this with other people. Different statue, same 2 people. You should know who they are now. They're very important. Mother and baby. This is my book, Your African Genius, a great book by a great author, me. I was amazed at how similar. Look at that bird. Looks like the American eagle on the dollar bill. European artists in 300 BC thought that the Last Supper should be painted like this. What happened? It's a coin, a Roman coin, 400 years after the picture you saw in 700 AD. Look at Jesus' hair on the left. Pictures of Mary and baby Jesus all across Europe from 300 to 1400 BC had one thing in common. And you tell me what it is.
It never strayed
Spain.
away from home too long.
France. Look like the French people to you? Look at that baby. Look at that. Does that look French? They pray to these. Switzerland. You got about 9 black people there. How come they pray to this? They held black people in high esteem. Is that a Mexican? How come it was found in Mexico 550 years BC? Those big ships you saw? Lower Egypt in the north, Upper Egypt in the south. All over the world, you saw pictures like this. You saw statues like this. None of them are from black artists, only Europeans in Europe. I believe this one is Poland. The Great Pyramid stands at the geographical center of the earth. I wonder how they knew. Nobody studied like Africa. This is Imhotep, probably the greatest man on earth. This is the first known doctor in history and the architect of the first stone building, the multi-genius Imhotep. Proof of his genius? You check that wall. How can this man Imhotep be seen on a wall engraving from 2600 BC with a stethoscope in his hand? Now you show me some other people that have something like that. Look for it. Don't believe me. This is the engraving on the House of Life, and the other is the pharmacy symbol. Coincidence? Really? Inside the Great Pyramid. Just look what Africans could do in architecture in 2200 BC. Master builders. Look at that. African genius. enabled them to place enormous structures perfectly beneath stars in the sky. No one else. It's one of those they forgot, and doesn't he look proud? Sahuri Nebka. Do you think he ever called himself the N-word? So what happened to you? Nubians and Egyptians on the right painted themselves in ways that showed themselves to be different from the foreigners they saw. The Egyptian sailors, check them out. 2000 BC, at least 1,000 years before Greece even started, we were sailing the ocean. Guess how old she is? This Egyptian woman died 4,000 years ago, and all the people in history knew enough science to accomplish such a feat. Proof of African genius. Check the sister out. Her hair, her teeth, everything is there. Take a look at the Oscar award. The Egyptian god Ptah is on the right. If you don't know history, they'll steal it from you. They already did. Surely by now you know who this is. On the left, the symbol of justice using the courtrooms. On the right is the African Judgment Day scene. Another coincidence? On the left is the NASA symbol. See the 3 stars? On the right, the 3 pyramids at Giza beneath the 3 stars on the belt of Orion. African history stolen right in front of your eyes. Egyptian temple on the right, the eagle that's on the cover of my book. And that's a dollar bill eagle. Come on. Look at what we built. Those Africans built incredible things. The magnificent Karnak temple, 136 perfectly created columns. I don't know how that guy got it. Once you see what Africans did, nobody could tell you anything about what you could do. Look at what they built. They built like giants because they felt like giants. Those men are taller than your house. Look at this at night. 136 columns perfectly arranged. More advanced African science. Look at the paint. The paint in these temples is 4,000 years old. The paint in your house will fade in 10 years. Now listen, from now on, I don't want you to call it hieroglyphics. The real name is the Medu-Neter, the language of the gods, the first writing in history. These people thought highly of themselves, no doubt about it. Africans wrote everywhere. The proof is everywhere. Don't let anybody tell you Africans didn't write. They just couldn't understand it. Talk about writing. This genius Imhotep wrote the first medical text in history. Look it up. I was walking in that desert sun, and off in the distance I saw something that it was so awesome. I thought I was on another planet. Oh my God. Because you don't see things like that on Earth anywhere. Like walking in a dream world, you can't believe your eyes. Off in the distance is an unearthly sight. I have no idea who this nut is, but he looks happy that Africans built large seagoing vessels which had no nails or screws. There's an exhibit of it. They used this technique to build massive ships that they could collapse when they needed to. When they got to where they were going, they could take the ship apart. Look at that. It's huge. I'm talking massive ships that they will never show you because Africans were advanced and they can't stand it, I guess. It was a ship with a house in it. 34s. Just think of fly, I guess, if everybody was wrong. Took the next two pictures inside of the temple as proof of Egyptian blackness. So sick of seeing what Hollywood shows. How can anybody? You're faint. There's no pictures of European women on any of those temples. I've seen them. Onto the Temple of Ice. Look at that. They could build like no one else. And there's Apple symbol with a giant on it. I didn't come up to his calf.
Away from home too long.
Look at Buddha. I know he was a brother. I know Buddha was up. Look at his hair and his nose, lips. Look carefully. Look at the size of each continent. This map is an accurate map. See how big Africa is? Now watch. This is the map the world saw up until the 1970s. Look at Africa. You saw this map in school. If you were in school up until the 70s. The next time you see the Oscar award, I do hope you will think of the God Ptah, where they got it from. Now look carefully. Real Mexican, huh? This and the next two heads were found in Mexico. Look Mexican to you? I don't think I ever saw a Mexican look like that. I haven't seen a Mexican with hair like that. Maybe I need to get out more. All over the world. Same thing. On the left, Egyptian writing. On the right, Nigerian writing. From West Africa to East Africa. Not much difference because they traveled back and forth. Same people. Ipet Isut, the ancient African school, which at one time had over 80,000 students. We taught the world. When did this woman die? You remember how many thousands of years she is? With her hair and her teeth? Guess which two are the Egyptians and the Nubians? Almost the first. Just the nose. Must have bothered them like crazy. They tried to hide our history. And kept Ra Tehutemes. Proud looking, right? Ancient maps showing you how close Jerusalem is. Egyptian soldiers cut off the hands of their enemies in war to prove their victory in battle. When they came back home, they had proof. See those hands? They ain't play around. Great videos by my teacher, Ashra Kwesi, the man who took me to Africa to show me what he'd been teaching me about. See the tooth priest? This is inside the Vatican. Look at the wall. Egyptians not only used to pray in black images, they still do, but they won't tell you. Share this slideshow with someone and help rebuild the true reputation of African people. Spread the truth. Peace.